Dobar dan svima. Mi smo ovdje iz Zebra naša akcija. Mi ćemo da prezentujemo na koji način mi doprinosimo očuvanju kulturne baštine i naših prirodne baštine. Ja ću konkretno pričati o volonturizmu koji mi razvijamo kroz nevladinu organizaciju.
English, please.
Now we'll be talking about volunteerism, the offer we have within our organization. And we have our first event happening with volunteerism in 2017, where we had a group from Germany coming to Montenegro, and they wanted to have some volunteering organization in this country. So we organized a school renovation in the north of Montenegro, where it was happening in the summertime. After that, every year we had some volunteerism organization happening. It was mostly school renovations during the summer because that was the most easiest to organize. And they were all informal events or tours because we're also, along the way, we were informing other volunteers about our culture, about our nature, traditions, and teaching them more about Montenegro. But we had our first official offer for volunteering tourism in 2024, where we, alongside with the Faculty of Tourism and Hospitality in Kotor, as a part of a program, me and my colleague made a brochure that was basically used afterwards. It was sent to 6 touristic organizations who made offer for 2025 regarding volunteering tourism. This is the brochure we have, which basically shows what do we do, what's our plan, what's our goal, and also the 10 offers we have regarding volunteering tourism, alongside our contact info, of course. So some of the volunteering tourists we already had, we would say, students from Paris who were enjoying our plugging tours through Vermont. With basically, plugging tour is walking through the tour to the mountain, but also picking up trash along the way. Of course, there are also some fortresses in Vermont, so they also along the way met with our culture and history. We had our French scouts this year actually also. They were staying at our volunteering house we have in Bauo in Kotor, and they were they had their own program, which was collaborated with us. They would go to San Giovanni, and also this year it was even better because one of our members of the organization got a license as a tour guide, and basically she will give them a more detailed tour about the fortress, about the old town, and other areas around it. This year will also happen, we had Dutch students coming to Montenegro from the University of Applied Sciences in Breda, and we would host an event where they had a lecture of what's happening in Montenegro regarding its history, tourism development, the sustainability, of course, those aspects affect nature and culture. Also, as I said before, the school renovations with German people, and also one of the projects we had a few years back was Deal for EU, where we basically accommodated different youth from 8 different countries. And that wasn't only us introducing them to Montenegrin culture and heritage, it was also our own volunteers introducing them to different cultures from 8 different countries, because they came to us and after some time would come to their own countries every 2 to 3 months. These are some of the photos. So the upper one where there's like most people, those are the French scouts and also our volunteers, and this is on the Fortress Goražde. Below that is one of the Dutch volunteers we had, and this is also the tour in San Giovanni. Some of the activities we had so far were, of course, school renovations during the summer, as we said before. Generally walking and touring people who came to Montenegro and introducing them in more detail about our heritage through the old town of Kotor most of the time. We had some actions with international schools where we collaborated, but also those international schools hold many students who are not with Montenegrin nationality and are not from Montenegro. So we will also introduce them to our culture. We had different presentations, as I said before, with Dutch students, but we also had some presentations for many different things with our culture, culture heritage and nature heritage. Also the plugging tour I mentioned before with Paris students. But it's not only international volunteerism that is happening. We also have the local one, where we are educating our own volunteers and local people about our own heritage we have. So we did this to visiting of certain places, cultural sites, educative workshops, and also taking part and visiting cultural events, and finally with NGO collaboration, where we met some other people from different backgrounds and exchanging our own culture and experiences that happened so far. These are some of the pictures we had. This is the Lipa cave, and this is the visit of fortress in Herceg-Novi. Alongside these other fortresses, those are some older photos, the rest of them. What are the pros of such an approach? So first, we are developing a more sustainable kind of tourism, and we are introducing our own culture in a more healthy way to international people, but also in a more healthy way introducing other cultures to our people. And in a direct, more physical way that could be shown is how this helps throughout renovations of schools, maybe even playgrounds and other stuff we did so far. That will be it for the volunteerism part. But we also have we have cultural heritage.
Hello, my name is Milica ŠUŠKAVČEVIĆ, and I would like to introduce myself as a volunteer of Naša Akcija. I'm a volunteer for almost a decade, so I kind of grow up with this organization, and I would like to introduce also Patricia. She's here with us. She's not our director, she's also our second mother. So besides the culture and volunteering and heritage, we learn the true values in our life. How to be good persons, how to help others, and how to become a good friends. This presentation is about Gornja Lastva and talks about how does we renovated one old olive mill and how we learned actually the special technique of making the walls just using stones, nothing else. We call this suhozid, and we have it all around of Montenegro, also in some part of Croatia. It's really unique, and UNESCO also protects that kind of building techniques. So also I would like to announce that this presentation is really old. I actually made this presentation when I was 15 or 14, when I was a kid volunteering. So some part of presentations are funny. First question is, who are volunteers? It's all the people that surround us, so you could be a kid also volunteering, and when you grow up, that never stops. So I would say that being a volunteer is more like a duty that follows you constantly, and it's a way of living also. We said that volunteers are the people who love nature and who loves the heritage. And if you ask me, sometimes, because we mostly do ecological volunteering, ecological activism, and it depends, but it's not only about sorting the trash or just cleaning the space around you. It's more the question about the future and being patriotic and loving your country. For me is not only about taking care of your country symbols like flags or other cultural heritage that we have. It's also about taking the trash. Actually, you love your country more when you put the paper in the trash than waving with the flag. These are the picture of the neighbors' houses in Gornja Lastva. It's a really special place because in the past Gornja Lastva used to have a lot of families, more than 20 families lived there, but by the time they went out to live in the other side of the seaside because they didn't produce anything and the youth just wanted to find some better options for life. These are some photos. You can see how the nature is beautiful, even if it's kind of left out. This was the church of the Saint Maria. And these are the volunteers who are building the wall that is only made out of stone. It's kind of a primitive technique of building, but it can last for years. When you learn how to properly place the stones into the wall, it can last for hundreds of years. These are the group. Maybe you don't recognize me, but I used to have a black hair. These are the walls that we made, and I think they will last next 100 years. These were our mentors or educators in the fields of. They were actually professional builders of Sukozid, who came from Croatia, and they also do that for saving the Sukozid around Croatia, so they are specialists. These are some photos. You can see it's a hard work. It's a lot of sweat and tears for building it, but with a purpose. It's not a clean job, but it clears your soul, because it gives you the satisfaction of being the truly part of your culture. And learning how does even. These are some of the injuries that happen during the action. That's why I said sometimes it's a tears and sweat, but everything can be turned into an art, so this is a good example. We were also picking up some more olives, and while we did that, we got an idea to restore the old olive mill that was placed there, and it was closed for years. That's why I said I had 50 when I was making this presentation, but it's about it. And this is the old mill that we restored it. It's also symbolic because in the past they used to produce the olive oil using this old machine, and it's completely without electricity. Usually the strong men from the village will come, mostly 10 of them, and they would spin around pushing those wooden blocks, and with their strength they would actually squeeze the olive with the pressure, making the pressure, and the true human power were and the masculinity was one who was producing the oil in the past. When we renovated this, we actually made the owner cry, and that's the result of how 10 young kids can maybe save someone's future just by spending one weekend playing, painting something, cleaning. We also got the idea to help him not only with the olive mill, but just to help him with another object that he had around his house. So we were usually solving problems when we see them. If we see that something is, that the grass is growing too far, or we would usually sort them, cut the branches, and give it a new reshape, completely reshape the place where we are going. These are some of the pictures of the volunteers working, like I said, usually painting, cutting, polishing. This is the cat that was hanging with us there, and she's judging the volunteers. But what I wanted to say is that when I started this, you could maybe separate these activities in a triangle. Like, how can I say it? Maybe to separate what we do in 3 ways, and that's mostly fun, education, and work. So usually, like you saw in a presentation, first we would work hard to make things better, then we would educate ourselves during that work, because we didn't only restore the old mill and building some walls. We educated about the life in the past, how the things function without the modern technology. We also educated us in a field of learning the new technique, but at the end of education and work, we always have fun, and that's the best part of volunteering, actually, because even if you are not paid for your work, you still got something, and that's the true friendship. Because now, whenever I go around Montenegro, in each town, I have my friends who are also volunteers, and I know that I'm welcome. I know that I can always sleep to their houses, because we used to sleep while camping on the floor. So that's the true gift of volunteering. Having some values, some friendship, hanging out. This is the group photo of all of us. You can see how much young people just came for one sunny weekend, but actually came not to have fun, to educate themselves and to work. And I would like to say that in the past, because this was mostly some kind of type of old village, in the past people, by volunteering, maybe they didn't call it volunteering back then, they had different names for it, but they were building roads that we are using right now, and that the power of volunteering can be used to change the world and to change our surroundings. So if we want to make a change, we need to be the part of change. So being a part of change is becoming a volunteer. And that's it.
So, seeing as Milica and Nemanja brought us a bit closer to our organization and, well, the main idea of what we do, as well as what it means to be a volunteer, I'm Savo, and being a more of an in-field kind of guy, I will try my best to walk you through one of our actions. Now, this action in particular happened in the Španjola fortress, and it was actually one of the more, say, demanding actions we've done, though the idea remains the same for every single one. So there might be less labor or more labor, but in the end it's all fun and learning, so I believe it makes up for it. So this action took part from 31st of July to 3rd of August, so 4 or 5 days. A few years ago, though. Now, it was all thanks to the project of the Synergy non-government organization, who, well, wanted to actually clean up the fortress. Now, we, of course, wanted to help being volunteers. So, how did the action itself go? Most of our team consisted of high school kids at that time. And, well, first day we set up camp, as you do, for a multi-day action. And in the beginning, everything, went as planned. Though every single action, you will encounter some problems, sometimes smaller, sometimes not so smaller. So everybody was supposed to have certain tasks to do by themselves, though we figured out that all of that will be finished and quicker and more efficiently if we worked in multiple groups. So we split ourselves into groups of 4, 5, 6 people, and though the working hours were about 4 to 5 hours, we finished most of it before the actual deadline for the day. So we had more time for fun. So as Milica said, we try to keep this pretty clear triangle in our actions. So there's work, of course, as it makes sense. However, through that work, we do our best to educate students and the actual youth on many topics, including the actual preservation of our heritage, of the nature, multiple things, as well as teaching, so to say, basic life skills, as in some work you can do, say, around the house or around vehicles, something that you don't have to call, for example, a plumber or an electrician to fix. Though what we try also to do is, between that education and the work, which can be pretty boring, right? We implement our own free time. So in this particular action, we went to the beach, which was pretty close, right? And it would really be a bad thing not to go, right? So the next couple of days, everything was smooth sailing. We finished all our work on time. Everything was fun. We had our fun time afterwards. We learned lots of things, actually. Though, so you can see the actual work we did. There was plenty of work to do with the actual plants that had surrounded the entire fortress due to old age, right? And there was lots and lots of rubble to be cleaned as well. So you can see we've had the support of local people as well, who more than often decide to actually help us out of their own free will. So this gentleman in particular decided to lend us his truck, or help us, because nobody knew how to drive at the time. So he helped us with all the materials that needed transport, so we didn't have to carry everything by hand. And, well, all that work can take a both physical and mental toll on persons, right? So we started to lose faith at some point, though, we all sort of came together after some time, and we decided to help each other. So as soon as somebody finished one part of their task, they would help another person, and it would all be pretty much a chain of people helping each other just to finish faster, just to have more motivation. So it really, as Milica said, both the camps and this type of work, it really brings people together, helps you make more connections, more friends, right? And as she said, you have a place to stay in pretty much any part of the world at some point. So it's a really, really fun part of actual volunteering and what we do. So as I said, it's this exact type of help we have with each other, where after 3 days of hard work, everybody was, of course, exhausted. The group of boys that were supposed to be doing more demanding physical labor finished everything on time, barely, and so they decided to help the girls out, right? It's a gentlemanly thing to do. So, all in all, it was a really, really fun action. Everybody had fun in the end. We went home pretty much exhausted, but richer for a really, really nice experience. So, this, so as I said, this would be one of the more demanding actions we've had, because you would be working for 4 to 5 days for 4 to 5 hours. Mostly physical labor, which high school kids aren't that used to, you would all agree. Though, it really teaches the actual kids and the youth about the synergy they should have, and the empathy. So, yeah, it's a really fun part of our organization and what we do. I try to keep everything brief, just not to waste much time. So, yeah, that would be it.